So what I'd like to talk about now is the plan for secession from the Union. So California was, up until recently, looking to secede from the Union. And it was quite the movement. So basically, two guys here. This is from an article in the LA Times. It says here, gosh, it just keeps jumping the screen. If there's one thing Jed Wheeler and Marcus Ruiz Evans agree on, it's that things in California need to change. The state sends too much money to Washington, they say, and is both politically and culturally out of step with a country that lacks its openness and vitality. Well, isn't that a rather arrogant statement? Yeah, you're out of touch with us, guys, so forget about it. Kind of crazy. Quote, we can solve our own problems and don't need to wait on on a government 3,000 miles away, said Wheeler, echoing Evans' suggestion that Democratic-leaning California would be better off going it alone as a separate country. They sharply disagree, though, on the matter of how and precisely when California should seek a divorce from the other 49 states. Evans is pushing a ballot measure that would put the question of secession before voters in 2018, believing the time has never been so ripe to form a breakaway nation. Wheeler is working to create a pro-secession political party, looking a dozen or more years down the road when its candidates hold office, and fears that a premature vote would undermine the effort. In short, the effort to cleave California faces a crack-up of its own. At least 4 proposals are floating about to reshape the state in some fashion, including 2 that would split up California along different axes. All work at cross purposes, and the result is varied degrees of hostility among proponents. None of the plans seems likely to reach fruition anytime soon, if ever. That is something they have in common. Now, there are a lot of efforts to split California up because California is so huge. Anyone who hasn't been to California needs to realize how big California is. It really is enormous. California is just this huge, huge state. Basically, it's about like if you took Maine all the way down to Pennsylvania and combined it. It's a huge state as far as land. And within this state, there are so many different kinds of people. If you go to the east of Los Angeles, places like Redlands, Fontana, you go even further east than that, you'll find a lot of people listening to country music, driving pickup trucks, and agreeing with President Trump. The further west you go towards the ocean, you get people who are a lot more open to many different things. The LGBTQ community is huge in Silver Lake and West Hollywood. You have people by the coast who have different thoughts on different things, more about the environment. You have people in San Diego, South, who a lot of people are immigrants, worried about those types of things. The culturally diversity, up in San Francisco, lots of Asian immigrants. I mean, you have a very culturally diverse group here in California, and a lot of them are not in step with the other 49. That is true. I went on a business trip once to Tampa, Florida, and I met a gentleman from Kentucky while lounging by the pool. I was smoking cigarettes, he was smoking a cigar. We got to talking about our states, and he told me basically everyone he talks to in Kentucky thinks that Californians are just the land of fruit and nuts, they say. Not very positive as far as California goes, as far as what California is, what California stands for. Not very positive, just kind of, saying, oh, you guys this was back when Schwarzenegger was governor, you guys have that guy for governor, and you're just a joke, they basically told me. I said, well, we're a very rich joke, sir. We have a lot of money, we have the world basically at our feet because of the entertainment capital of the world. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody feels like they need to be here. So does anybody feel that way about about Kentucky. Not really. Not really. So I did feel a little bit like I was being a dick, but at the same time it was like, well, dude, just, get off your high horse. Don't be a dick yourself, So anyway, back to what we were talking about, which is California's secession from the Union. Since 1849, the article continues, when the state was remade in a rush of greed and ambition, there have been more than 200 efforts to split apart, pull away, or otherwise reimagine the vast empire known as California. Not one has succeeded. The latest, most conspicuous attempt, a proposed ballot initiative fueled by the anti-Trump sentiments and titillated national media coverage, quote, those wacky Californians, seems destined to fall short of qualifying for the ballot, barring a sudden change in fortune. Supporters of the measure, led by Evans, have until July 25th to collect nearly 600,000 valid signatures. So it needs it's a little ways away. I mean, but considering the country, or not the country, but the state, considering the size of the state, 600,000, that's just a drop in the bucket, right? The group, which received the go-ahead to collect signatures at the end of January, has yet to reach a quarter of that number, according to the California Secretary of State's office. The group has also not reported raising any campaign contributions, according to the Secretary's office, which oversees elections. Evans, 40, a former government affairs consultant now working full-time on the CalExit campaign, insisted a robust signature-gathering process was underway, engaging thousands of volunteers in 82 chapters across the state. However, the precise number collected was unknown, he said, because of the loose structure of this pro-secession group, Yes California. Some are mailing them in, some are holding them, some are taking them directly to their county registrar of voters, he said. Asked to assess the odds of making the ballot, Evans responded, good, I won't say great. So, the effort. I mean, they're putting in the effort, so you got to give them that. Putting in the effort for something they believe in. The effort, uphill from the start, has not been helped, he said, by reports linking the CalExit movement to Russia, which Evans called preposterous and unfair. The co-leader of Yes California is Louis Marinelli, a former San Diego area assembly candidate now teaching English in Russia, where among promotional activities he appeared last fall at a Kremlin-backed pro-secession conference in Moscow. It has definitely been damaging. Well, let's see. Now it went away. It certainly has been damaging. Being associated anything with Russia these days is certainly damaging. So it's, yeah, when you get to that, it's like, no, there's no way. There's no way. But he says it's been definitely damaging to us getting big donors and hurting our ability to bring on new members because clouding the issue without accurately reporting all the facts. Evans said, citing the organization's 44,000, quote, likes on Facebook as one example. More, he said, was beneficial when Nigel Farage, a leading proponent of Britain's exit from the European Union, said prominent Trump supporter, recently flitted into California to talk up a vague plan to split the state down the middle, creating a coastal West California and interior East California. Now, that is something that I think would work. If you split California down the middle, then you have the Eastern California, which is, like I said, a lot of people who are, it would be a red state, and Western California would be a blue state. Just think about how that would change everything. There would be 25 delegates on the east side, and 25 delegates on the west, instead of 50. That would be a huge coup for the Republican Party. It seems Evans and his pro-secession movement have found an ally in Wheeler and others to form a political party dedicated to achieving state independence. Many tenets of the left-leaning California National Party, the state that needs to keep more of the money it sends to Washington and establish homegrown policies on issues such as immigration and health care, echo those propounded by Yes California. The nascent party has taken no official position on the 2018 secession drive, but Wheeler, the party's vice chairman, believes the initiative would lose, damaging the independence movement. Better, he said, to elect sympathetic lawmakers under the National Party banner who would then work to bring about California's eventual departure. We're trying to be very pragmatic and realistic where we are as a movement, said Wheeler 36, who works for a digital media company in San Francisco. Now, I just got to say this. I got to say that I think that the separation of California from the Union, it is certainly a good idea, because California can support itself. California can take care of itself, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just being honest. I don't think it's going to happen. There's just too much that's got to fall in just the right direction, and I just do not think it's going to happen. That being said, I've been wrong before. I was wrong about President Trump being elected, so I can definitely be wrong about this. But, I mean, to be even in the discussion for secession from the Union has just got to tell you that California is really a completely different place than anyone has ever seen before.